So in this video, we will learn how to create torch and how to run the PyTorch, like PyTorch values and PyTorch functions and algorithm. Alright. So for this, you must have function. Alright. So for this, you must have already installed your torch library. So here I'm going to give command import torch, which is not giving any error, which means I've already installed this torch here. So if you are getting an error, then you can install it by using pip torch and so on. If you want to check the version of this torch, which version I have kept in my PC, then I'll use torch dot underscore version underscore two times underscore, then hit then shift enter. That will run your command, and torch dot version will display the current version of your torch framework. All right. So this is used for various purposes, like how to create tensors, how to create neural network architecture, how to create deep learning and computer vision from the scratch. So we will learn how to perform on these different advanced functions, right? So we know the tensors are having different key factors like scalars, having scalars. So how to create scalars? Let's say I'm having a scalar value here, that is torch dot tensor, and then any number like 9. So you can see I'm not enclosing or the including a square bracket here, which means it's having the 0 dimension. How to check the dimension of this? Okay, so I'm going to print that scalar. So it's having tensor 9. So but how to check the dimension or the attribute of this, change the attribute of this variable name, this scalar value. All right. So I'll use scalar dot n dimension, n dim. Right, that's for n dimension. Okay, so that's used for n dim, and it's giving 0, which is which significance that it's having no tensor value, which means it's having 0 tensor value, right? But how to get the item or how to get the value of this scalar? So I'll use scalar dot item and then print this one. So I'm having the value of this number of this scalar value. The second thing, we are having vector. So in terms of creating the vector, we are having single square bracket. All right. So we are having vector is equal to torch dot tensor, and then we will use inside the round bracket, we will use square bracket, one square bracket, and let's say 8 comma 5 here. So I'm printing that. So I'll print that vector and hit enter. So it's the vector format, not the tensor value, not the scalar value. So it's the vector, means it's having one dimension. So vector dot ndim, again I'll check the dimensions of this vector, that is 1. So that's the string. You can contain two numbers but only has a single dimension. So it's just simple the dimension of this square bracket, not the entire structure. All right. So that's the square bracket of this value. So if you want to check the vector dot shape, so I'll write vector dot shape, and you can see it's having 2 over here. All right. But instead of like 8 comma 7, Suppose I change the value, the dimensions of this, like suppose 3 here, then I'm going to vector execute these command, and dimension again 1, but shape now you can see it's a 3 here. All right. Similarly, if you want to check the vector and the vector and the, suppose you want to check the value of this number and the value of this entire scenario, that we will use vector dot item, right, and then hit enter. So it's s here. All right. So it's not showing any value because we are having scalar value, we are having like tensor object, so only one element tensor can be converted into scalars. It's not a scalar value, it's a vector value, so we are not having that function here. So we can simply print the function value or the simply print the vector over there. All right. Now let's see how to perform metrics. All right. So how to create metrics in the in the torch. So I'm having metrics function and then torch dot tensor, and then two, I'll write two square bracket here. All right. So first square bracket will contain first element 1 comma, let's say 5, and separating by comma I'll write second square bracket that will means consider the second value. So I'll write, execute this command and write matrix, and you can see it's having two dimension matrix over here, 1558. All right. Suppose you want to check matrix, then n dimension matrix that's having two dimension, right? So in the previous vector we had one dimension, in the scalar we had 0, in matrix we have 2, that is the tensor value, and tensor is of 2 shape. Now we will check the matrix dot shape, and we will see that it's having 2 cross 2, 2 rows, 2 value. So we get output of this size, like that means like what's the row, how many rows are there, how many columns are there, right? And now we want to create the tensor, right? So how to create the tensor? So for this we have same torch function, then tensor, right? So in the tensor we have a square bracket and a square bracket, but in the tensor now we will have three square brackets. So first, second, and now we will have elements. So let's say 1, 5, 8 separated by comma, 7, comma 9, comma 5 separated by comma, 5, comma 7, comma 9. All right, hit enter. Okay, so it's having 0, so one square bracket, second square bracket, and it should have one square bracket here, right? Oh, my mistake, I didn't create the uh, round bracket here, so I'll have to enclose within the round bracket and then hit enter. So you can see my tensor has been created now, and I'll print, you can see this tensor has been created again. So this is how we just created the tensor, and we can have created sales of any number, any arbitrary value, and you can see over the over. So again, you can check the tensor dot and dim. So this will give 3. So that's the 3 dimension of this tensor flow. All right. If you want to check tensor dot shape, so we will have 1, 3, 3. So 3 means one means tensor dimension 1, 3 rows 3 column. So second 3 is 3 rows 3 column, and first one is the 3 means 1 dimension. All right, so this is the 1 dimension of the tensor flow. So these are your play and all the dimension rotating around this square bracket and all these. So scalar is having 0 number of dimension, vector is having 1 number of dimension, and matrix having 2. But in tensor can have any number as 0 dimension tensor, 1 dimension vector, scalar, and the another means 2 for matrix and 1 for tensor, and so on. So in the machine learning, we can create so many neural networks in order to create the patterns, and in order to create the another number. So we can have the random tensor values. So random tensor values. Okay. So what we will create random underscore tensor is equal to torch dot rand, and then size is equal to this, let's say 4 comma 6, right? And then I'll have random, I'll print random underscore tensor comma random underscore tensor dot d type, right? So you can see it's a randomly creating 4 rows and 6 columns over there, and having d type tensor d type, and having means float 32 values, right? If you want to decrease the dimension of this random value, you can have. So you can see the first value is 0.5634, and here 4371. So I'm going to execute this one more time. You can see now values are changed because it's using random function, not the constant value. All right. If you want to create the another random function and another random like image size courtesy equal to torch dot rand, and then size is equal to, what is the size, what should be the size? Let's say I want to have the image size 224 comma 224 comma 3. So it will have image size, then it will have image size dot shape, and then what is the dimension, that is n dimension. So I'll create there. All right, so I'll print it that you can see I'm having 3 dimension, and all are having 224 comma 224. All right, so this is means randomly creating the image with 3 channels. So 3 channel, and going to create the separate number. All right, so similarly you can create the zeros using torch. So zeros, torch dot zeros, and then what should be the size of this function? So size is equal to 3 comma 4. All right, so I'll have to create like size is equal to 3 comma 4, and then include yes. So now you can print the zeros, and it's having dot. So dot means, what is the dot here? It's a, means it's a just a simple element wise content is there, and you can create means another aspect, another different values also. All right. So torch dot once you can have for the different values. So like if we want to create all the elements as ones, you can you we have torch dot ones, right? So torch, what is the size of torch dot one? So let's say I want to keep the size one, let's say 2 comma 5. So just execute and going to print this once. You can say 2 rows and 5 columns, and all are having 1 as a element, and the number is float 32. All right, so now I want to create a range and tensors, like something you can have the different values, and then you can have the arrange. Like arrange is the function defined in Python and another basic libraries. Similarly, we have in the torch also. So like torch, we have like torch dot arrange, and then start, then end, then step. All right, but you will have to define first what are the different means values of this start is equal to is something start value, let's say 0, and end is equal to, let's say I'm having 10 value, and step, let's say suppose I'm having 2 step, right? So I'll have to assign this this uh, this number into some value. Let's say a r r g is equal to, I'm going to print that a r r g, right? So you can see 0 2 4 6 8 is my arrange, that is starting from 0 ending with 10 and step 2, right? So it's keeping the last value, because we are having the first value and last value, and with the step function of 2. All right, so if you want to create the more function this way, so if you want to create the large numbers of values, so you can have 0 to 10, and then you can have uh, another function, namely range. We have range also here, 0 comma 10, right? Hit enter, right? You can see range is something institute called range, which produce value in this one. It's showing error and something disrupting. Okay, sometimes you might want tensor of a certain type, same shape as another. So for example, you can have the like another value and this one, right? Okay, so you can have like 0 underscore 2 10 is equal to, and then we can have torch dot, let's say zeros underscore like, and then I'll use input over here. So that's the same function I want to create. So I'm using a arrange, and then hit 0 underscore 2 10, right? So you can see it's having the same dimension, but having all elements 0, but having same dimension as arrange function, right? Suppose I'm having, I'll use once function, so it will have 1 over here, and it will have the same value. Okay, so for this we have, so this is lecture number 1 and basics of PyTorch. Thank you.